The movie begins with Canadian officer Burke communicating with the police over the radio. He's on the trail of a wanted criminal, and the police advise him to wait for backup. However, when a thug brandishes a razor, Burke springs into action. He swiftly takes down two of the thugs with powerful kicks, while the third one flees. Ignoring the advice to wait for support, Burke informs the team that he's going in, driven by the memory of his partner, who this criminal killed. Burke enters the building, ready for action, but a creepy doll in a safe gives him a bad feeling. Suddenly, the criminal, the Sandman, attacks and stabs Burke in the stomach. Despite the pain, Burke shoots the Sandman dead. 16 months later, Burke arrives and greets his colleagues. He meets Tom, the Attorney General, along with Ben and Sam, who are in charge of the prisons. They brief him on the mission, explaining that the assistant warden has been murdered, and this may be connected to the deaths of several prisoners. They want Burke to go undercover as an inmate in Harrison Prison. Since he's from Quebec, no one in the prison will recognize him. To maintain communication, Amanda will pose as his wife and serve as the link between him and the authorities. When asked for his opinion on the plan, Burke responds that they'll let them know. Burke accepts the mission, and shortly after, the sergeant in charge of the prison addresses the new inmates. Following this, the prisoners undergo medical examinations at the clinic, where the doctor informs Burke that he has a rare blood type. Later, they retrieve their personal belongings. Upon entering his cell, Burke's cellmate demands $500 for sleeping there, but Burke refuses, stating he has no money. In response, the cellmate retrieves a razor from under the bed and holds it to Burke's neck. Unfazed, Burke swiftly takes control, choking the cellmate and asserting his dominance, instructing him to take the bottom bunk. During dinner row, a Latin prisoner threatens Hawkins, a black inmate, with a fork, sparking a confrontation that prompts Burke to step in. In a fit of rage, the prisoner strikes Burke, but Burke retaliates with a helicopter kick. The guards quickly intervene, restoring order. Following this, the sergeant arrives and delivers a message to Burke, suggesting he will not stay long. In their cell, Burke's cellmate expresses skepticism, particularly towards Hawkins, whom he distrusts based on his race. When recounting his time in prison, the cellmate mentions a duration of 6 years. Burke then informs him about several prisoner deaths, to which Burke firmly responds, advocating for ignoring and staying silent about such incidents. Amanda visits him in prison, asserting her status as his wife as they converse. She reveals that she has reviewed all the death certificates of the victims, discovering a consistent method of killing, a hole in the back of the skull. She suggests he may be a serial killer due to the uniformity of the technique. He inquires about the name of the latest deceased prisoner, learning it was Alvin Barrett from her. Additionally, he informs her of his urgent need for money. After Amanda's report, Burke requested money, but Ben declined. She informed him that if he didn't agree, she would provide funds from her own pocket. While Burke was cleaning in the laundry room, the Latin man who had previously assaulted Hawkins approached him with one of his accomplices, attempting to assault Burke. However, with skillful agility, Burke swiftly turns the tables and decisively defeated them both. In the cell, Burke opens the book sent by Amanda and retrieves the concealed money from within. He proceeded to Hawkins's place, discovering him in the midst of crafting bullets for their defense. Inquiring about Barrett, stating their friendship and desire to uncover his killer, Hawkins responded that the only one capable of aiding him was a figure known as the Priest. Burke's cellmate guided him to the Priest, who was unexpectedly in a luxurious prison setting with a flock of admirers. The Priest questioned about the confrontation with the Latino, offering Burke female companionship, which he declined. Instead, Burke proposed a monetary exchange for information. Learning about Barrett's murder, Burke found out it was a gunshot wound to the head. The Priest suggested consulting Mayerson, a clinic worker and Barrett's former cellmate, for further details. Burke heads to the clinic for his cleaning duties and encounters Mayerson. He confronts Mayerson about Barrett's death with intensity. Mayerson cryptically hints that the guards may be involved. Burke, feeling a sense of urgency, contacts Amanda and informs her about the clue regarding the guards' potential involvement. He expresses his need to review the victims' files, but Amanda informs him that they are still in prison as they haven't been entered into the computer system yet. After obtaining the key to the records room from the Priest, Burke enters stealthily into Hawkins' residence. Hawkins casually pushes a cart, concealing something beneath. When questioned by the guard, he claims it's just clothes. Upon inspection, something is discovered hidden within. Amidst the commotion, Hawkins admits that he discreetly offers peach juice to his colleague. In the chaos, Burke deftly removes a port from beneath the antenna and slips into the records room, where he examines the files. He discovers one marked with 2 letters, signifying clear body tests. Despite the growing suspicion, Burke manages to avoid detection, aided by Hawkins and his climbing skills. skills. On the following day, Amanda visited him, and he recounted the recent events to her. He shared that all the victims had letters preceding their names, indicating that they were newcomers to the prison and showed no signs of drug dependency. Amanda admitted she didn't understand the significance of the 2 letters. He suggested enlisting the help of a hacker acquaintance to penetrate the prison's computer system. He urged her to keep everything confidential, as he suspected external parties might be involved in the prison's affairs. Amanda welcomed the hacker boy into her home, where he began his attempt to hack into the prison website. However, they hit a security barrier that demanded a password for access to the prison records. The hacker asked for a day or 2 to break the password, and Amanda agreed to the postponement. He went to see Mayerson in prison. Mayerson seemed worried. He told Mayerson that he had snuck into the surgery department the day before and discovered what they did to his friend. The hacker boy is at Amanda's place, attempting to access the file. He successfully opens it, revealing a security code. But suddenly, someone breaches the system and begins deleting files. Thankfully, the hacker boy manages to secure the file just in time. He informs Amanda that he has decrypted the numbers, but needs some time. She hands him her contact details, requesting updates as soon as he uncovers anything. Later, she phoned Burke and disclosed her hacking of the prison computer, uncovering a file listing prisoners' names and numbers, many of whom had tragic outcomes. She explained that each victim had a set time frame before their demise. Voicing suspicion, she suggested his potential involvement due to his access to the files. The bombshell dropped when she revealed his number was next, sparking worry about his safety. At night, 2 intruders force their way into Burke's cell. In the chaos, one fatally wounds Burke's colleague, while the other attacks Burke with a knife. To their surprise, Burke emerges from under the bed and defends himself. He then rushes to aid his colleague. The colleague succumbs to the assault. When the guards arrive, they wrongly accuse Burke of the crime, subjecting him to harsh treatment. The guards, along with the sergeant, mistreat him further, forcing him into solitary confinement. The assailants approach Mayerson and pour gasoline over him before igniting him with fire. Amanda arrives at the prison, visibly frustrated due to the obstacles imposed by the sergeant and his assistant during her search. Concerned, she inquires about Burke's condition, to which he reveals that 2 assailants targeted him the previous night. Witnessing her distress, he prompts her to explain the reason for her visit. Amanda confides in him, admitting her suspicions regarding the prison doctor's involvement with the gang. In a vulnerable moment, Burke feels his heart race and confesses his feelings for her. As a new inmate entered the prison, Burke's heart dropped at the sight that greeted him. His deepest anxieties became reality as he laid eyes on the ominous presence of the Sandman. Burke finds himself either beaten or restrained with chains in the bathroom. In a chilling turn of events, the Sandman enters and brandishes a dagger, ready to deliver a fatal blow. However, instead of ending Burke's life, the Sandman utters a sinister revelation. He exposes Burke's true identity as an undercover officer to their fellow inmates. As the guards discover Burke's injured state, they confine him to a cell for his safety. Yet, the revelation of his true identity spreads like wildfire throughout the prison, igniting a frenzy among the inmates. At a soiree thrown by the state's Attorney General, Tom Vogler, Amanda ponders whether to disclose her suspicions about the murders to him. Despite suspecting her boss, Ben Kiane, she hesitates to confront Vogler directly. Just as she deliberates, Tisdale, the hacker, reaches out to her with a shocking revelation. Vogler, the host of the gathering, is the actual mastermind behind the killings. Shocked and on the verge of fleeing, Amanda finds herself at gunpoint, with the deputy explaining his actions. He reveals that his wife's illness drove him to desperate measures. In exchange for her liver transplant, he was coerced by Dr. Goes into orchestrating the death of a prisoner for organ procurement. Amanda is stunned by this revelation, especially when the truth is further illuminated by the deputy's wife entering the room. With the situation escalating, Amanda seizes a critical moment and persuades the deputy to disclose the details of the impending threat to save herself. Seizing the opportunity, she escapes the perilous scene. As Burke senses the danger of his cell being opened, he quickly electrifies the door to protect himself. But soon, the assistant sergeant warns him that the Sandman is on his way. Burke, realizing the threat, activates the electrified bars, leading to the assistant sergeant's death. Burke grabs the keys, hoping to flee. However, chaos erupts as the Sandman releases all the prisoners, sparking a frantic chase through the prison corridors. In a dramatic turn of events, Priest and Hawkins aid Burke in evading the pursuing guards. Although Hawkins is sustains injuries, Priest selflessly comes to his rescue. Tragically, Priest falls victim to the relentless Sandman, sacrificing himself for Burke's escape. The tension rises as Burke and the Sandman face off, with the other inmates watching closely. At first, the Sandman seems to be winning, but then Burke finds a chance to fight back and ends up defeating him. As the fight heats up, the Sandman tries to toss Burke into the boiler room, but Burke fights back, throwing the Sandman into the flames. Even though the Sandman gets badly injured, he doesn't give up and keeps threatening Burke. In a decisive move, Burke twists the Sandman's head, causing fatal damage. Despite the Sandman's defiant words, Burke emerges victorious, finally ending the reign of terror. With the inmates silently observing, Burke is allowed to leave the prison, where he reunites with Hawkins and Amanda. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.